Hear me. I feel like it has been ages since I've been live here with you guys, and I've been noticing and collecting transmissions and information of things that I need to talk about here on this channel. So welcome in. This live stream is going to be for my Huntress women who are using feminine energy to 10x their life and relationships. And if you are not using feminine energy to 10x your life and relationships, listen up because I have been picking up a lot of things in the field that definitely need to be discussed. So, first of all, how are you? Welcome. It's been a minute. Hi, Christian. Kabibi's here. Alexis is here. Was watching an older video and then got the email to come on live. Hey, Crown Era, welcome in. Hello again. Hi, Diane. I saw some of you guys in Money Foreplay. Trin was there. I'm here, was in Money Foreplay earlier and ready to keep learning with you ladies now. Perfect, perfect, perfect. So how I would like to structure today's training, live stream, hangout is you guys know I am a human design projector and I notice a lot of things collectively, like patterns that keep coming up, either it's with my private clients or group coaching clients or people in my courses, comments, people emailing us stuff, DMing stuff. So I'm going to try to take a few of those things and knock them out, and hopefully this will serve everyone, because chances are if some women are going through this, a lot of women might also be going through something similar. So the first transmission I want to give you guys today here is a lot of people right now, especially, are getting massively dysregulated. There's a lot going on. There is a lot going on. There's a lot of collective trauma going on. There's a lot of just, I think it's called like empathy exhaustion, where there's just a lot. There's a lot going on in Texas. There's a lot going on in the world. And I just want you to first take a deep breath and just acknowledge that it's okay to put it down for a second. It's okay to just let it drop for a second. It's okay to find a moment of peace within yourself. It's okay to find a moment of joy. It's okay to let joy interrupt anything else that you're hearing in the world, because the world does not need our sadness, it needs our joy. The world needs our pleasure. What I'm noticing is I think people are getting really dysregulated, and some people, when they get dysregulated, they go below emotion, right? They start getting drowning in emotion. They become overly emotional. Other people, I notice this a lot more with Huntress women, but it can happen either way. Other women get completely disconnected with their body and they get stuck in their head. And part of my training is I can spot this a mile away, and a lot of my fine art students are getting really good at spotting this too. When the women that are showing up completely disconnected from their head, it looks scary. It looks a little scary. I sometimes have my clients go back that are in that mode and I say, watch the recording when you were asking your question. And then when I took you in your body, their beauty changes, their posture changes, their glow. It looks like they just reverse age 10 years in like 20 seconds. So if you are noticing yourself stuck in the mental plane, here is a sign that you might be stuck in the mental plane. This is the physical sign we see. This is how they show up. They're asking questions, but they can't move. They're frozen in time. When you coach or ask a question, they just ask another one. Their body is frozen. They cannot hear. They're here. They're just locked. And there's an inability to absorb anything. If you tell a joke, they can't hear it. Everyone will laugh. They're not gonna laugh. And I have a lot of compassion because I get it. It's traumatic. It's like really hard. And what's happening is their mind is racing a million miles an hour. And the number one thing that happens is in your mind is you're trying to figure something out. If you are a woman and you're trying to figure something out from your head and you're thinking a lot about it, that can make you sick. It can, oh my gosh, it can like make you physically frozen. It can be such a painful thing. I've been there and I've walked thousands of clients at this point, if not tens of thousands, out of that state. And in that state, you're not going to be able to receive the answers that you need. And you cannot figure it out. You're not going to be able to mentally get yourself out of that realm. It's like asking the computer virus to delete itself. For the moment, you're going to have to stop thinking, which I know can be so hard when that it's got the mental plane has got a grip on you. It's got a grip on you. So this is different than someone else that's connected to their body and they're just asking a question. They can receive the answer. They can be coached. They're not locked in. Their eye movements are different. Their body posture is different. They have a radiance and a glow. There's blood flowing everywhere. They're not stuck. And so if you are one of my clients or students that I've actually pointed this out to, go back and listen to the recording when before you were that way and then when we took you to into the body. So your mind is not going to help you figure it out. It's actually going to make you sicker. So one of the techniques that I teach in my coaching and I use is you have to be able to gauge whether someone is below emotion or above emotion. And there's a lot of coaches out there that just have one technique for everyone, and it's not going to work unless you can, and it's only going to work on the people that have that specific issue. So people that are below emotion, they can't even finish a sentence before crying. There's a lot of emotion. They're crying. They might be in fear. They might be they're in their body, but they're over feeling. They're overly attached to their emotional body. Both of these people need different modalities of coaching. And so if you are overly emotional, more emotions are actually not going to help you either. So feeling the emotions, releasing the emotion isn't necessarily going to help you, not at this moment. So this is something I really wanted to talk to you guys about because I'm repeatedly seeing this. Okay. So that's number one thing I want to say. Who can resonate with this? Give me a yes in the comments if you are either tend to be below emotion, drowning in emotion, or you get so disconnected and you go into trying to figure things out. And the more you try to figure it out, the further you get away from it. The less action you take, the less good it feels, the less you have the answers. I know there's a 30 seconds lag, so I'll stop and let you guys answer before we move into the second thing I want to talk about. Both of these can be really painful to experience when you just want to move on with your life and get the results that you want. I'm usually below emotion. So emotions are always there ready to have. Okay, I've been both. Beautiful. So my question for you would be, have you been both at different times, or is it certain things that put you above emotion and certain things that put you below emotion? For me, it's both. Okay, good to know. Same question for you. Is it different seasons of life or different topics? So what can happen is if you are going to a coach or if you're self-coaching and you only know one way of dealing with it, and that's the opposite of what you need, as you can see, it's going to actually cause more problems. So for example, one thing I've noticed, some of these are like colleagues of mine, and I pointed this out to them, is that when someone's overly in their head, they're like super in their head, like locked in, like they're not even moving. They can't laugh. They can't receive anything. And you ask them questions, coaching questions, that actually is worse for them. You cannot coach them at that time the way you would coach someone else. Because now they're stuck in the mental plane and you're asking what, where, why, when questions. What do you think is happening? They're more stuck in their head. They're like you're taking them deeper in. Think mental plane is for sure, Trin. You are very much overly identified. I saw it today immediately when you came in to today's call. Friends have told me my face gets puffy hard and I look confused when in that state. They ask for the beautiful Trin to come back to. Yep. You have really honest friends that are telling you the truth. I saw that in you today. um, there's like sometimes in the mental plane, and then there's a very over identification, and I know how painful it is, and I saw it. You are trying hard to figure out your business stuff, and the harder you try, the worse it's gonna get. You have to put it down. And regular coaching won't even work for you in that moment because anything that puts you even more into your head will actually not serve you. Charisma said for work, it's above, relationships, it's below. This is a big one I've noticed with Huntress women. When I was a newer coach 9 years ago, I would get so confused because I would have these really high achieving, successful, badass women that were above emotion come in. And then when we start talking about their date, I'm like, oh my God, they're like a puddle on the floor. What happened? What happened? They go to the other extreme. And there's different levels of training and coaching for that. Different seasons. I was frozen last year and now I'm more full of emotions and need to release them. Beautiful, beautiful. Alexis said, yes, me. I found myself being below emotions and stuck in my head too. So when you are below emotions, you do not have to release them. I would not advise. Alexa, stop. She's trying to coach me. Oh my God, that is freaking hilarious. Okay. So that's not the time to be releasing them. Again, sometimes these are techniques given by people that only have one way of working with stuff. So I wanted to point this out because in my work, in Kainath, in Money Foreplay, in Inner Alchemy, you're going to see me completely shift my strategy. And you already see this. You see me doing one technique with one person on the hot seat, and 2 seconds later, I'm with another client and I'm doing a completely different technique. That's why. Because sometimes what happens is the person that's above the head, they come and they see the other technique and they're like, oh, I wanted that one. There was a reason I didn't do that one on you. Because that particular thing that I did with the other client does not serve you right now. So you're going to have to trust that I'm using the right technique for you. And today we experimented with this. We had someone in Money for a Play that wanted a technique that I knew she was not ready for. I indulged her. I did it. And it didn't have the same result because it wasn't the right technique at that time. Doesn't mean in a different session, she comes in with a completely different energy. We do the energetic surgery, the quantum healing, it's done. But you're going to have to trust me that I'm always using the exact right techniques for you that you need in that moment. Yeah? Welcome, Jackie. So nice to have you in Level Up Queens. Hi, welcome, welcome. We'll catch the replay. Loving this live. Amazing, amazing. Okay, so here's the second thing I want to move into, which actually goes with the first one. Whether you are self-coaching or if you are coaching other clients, because a lot of people, this is why I'm saying this. A lot of my own clients have gone through coaching certifications or things like that where they were just taught one way to coach and they are taught to coach everyone that way. And some people will instantly get results and then some people won't. And so here's another thing, and you can use this in self-coaching and you can use this with your clients. When you are the coach for yourself or your clients or your children, as moms, we know sometimes we need to be able to coach our kids. Here's the question I want you to ask yourself and notice this in the other person or yourself or your child. I want you to notice, are they having a state-related problem? Are they asking a state-related question? Is this a state-related question? I'm going to say it a different ways and then I'm going to explain it to you. So the best way to, let me see if this will be the best way to explain this. So when a 5-year-old is curious, children are very, very curious, and they're like, "Mommy, why do you eat that? Mommy, how come birds fly but chickens don't fly? Mommy, why is the sky blue and the water is blue?" So notice that in here, these are questions out of curiosity. There's an element of wonder and play and curiosity in these questions, right? This is something I was talking about on Million Dollar Babes the other day, about successful clients, and people tend to ask questions one way versus people that are stuck in the mental plane ask a different way or in negative thinking loops, right? If you guys watch that, let me know in the chat if you were there for that live stream. So this is when someone is curious, they're open, they're curious about the world. Now, a similar example of this is when someone comes into my work, and I have this a lot in my with my close proximity mentorship in Kainat. Someone might say, Mina, I noticed that your last launch, you did this, this, and this. Can you tell me more about that? Or, Mina, I noticed that, when you were speaking to your husband, you were speaking like this. Can you tell me more about this? This is not a state-related problem. This is not a state-related question. This is, they're curious. They want to know if there's something here for them to learn, there's something here for them to calibrate with. A state-related problem is when someone is stuck in either their emotions, like below emotion, they're overly emotional, or they're stuck in their head. So let me give you an example. If a client comes and they said, my husband doesn't love me. Okay, how do you know that he doesn't love you? He's obviously married you. Well, yesterday I tried to give me a kiss and I tried to give him a kiss and he totally pulled away, so I know he doesn't love me. What should I do? What's different about that question? What is different about that question? Okay, that's a state-related problem, right? That's those of us that are coaches, we know the inner child wounding is coming up. And it's distorting the reality of one little simple event. Maybe something in their childhood happened where their dad wasn't giving them attention, or their mom pulled away but then gave their brother attention. That's a state-related problem. This person would not be normally thinking that their husband doesn't love them just because their husband maybe didn't notice that they were giving them a kiss, or maybe they were tired, or maybe they were dysregulated, or they were in a bad mood, or they were mad. A million things could have happened. And so we want to start noticing where in ourselves or in our loved ones or in our coaching clients, people are coming up with a state-related problem. Like, let's say that someone comes up to me and the same client, and she thinks her husband doesn't love her. The technique will be different there for coaching because I can't coach a dysregulated person. I'd be, I'm coaching a little child. The inner child has come through. And so how this can serve you is starting to notice your own BS, starting to notice your own BS stories, where you make life complicated, where you make life difficult for yourself because you're entertaining state-related problems. I don't entertain my own state-related bullshit. I have moments where I get dysregulated and then I'm like, my brain is going a million miles an hour. Huntress brains tend to do that. We know that. And it's asking all kinds of stupid questions that actually do not need to be solved. I just need to outgrow them. How? By regulating myself. How do I do that? I use the exact techniques that I gave you guys in my 3-week nervous system reboot. I'm not doing anything special that I haven't already given you or will give you if you ask, right? In Kainath and all the places I see you guys live in my courses. So we want to make sure that we're using our focus and our attention and our energy in useful ways. That is our responsibility. That is our responsibility. It would break my heart to hear that someone wasted an entire lifetime stuck in their BS. What a waste of human potential. So what you decide to give attention to, how you decide to use your time, creating imaginary state-related problems and spending an entire life trying to solve them is a waste of human potential. That's not why you're here. Jackie said, like, they are operating from a frequency that is not aligned with their desires versus a lack of information. So they're dysregulated in that moment. And the mental plane or the emotional plane has gotten a hold of them and they're creating up imaginary situations like my husband doesn't love me, or I'm going to fail in my business unless I figure this one thing out, or the money is going to run out unless I do this, this, and this. Like, how do I figure this out? What do I do? Oh no. And in those situations, what my husband calls tampering. We start tampering. We start making decisions or freezing or wasting time trying to solve unnecessary problems that you just simply need to outgrow. So, how my clients, my feminine huntresses, use their feminine energy to 10x their life is they first regulate themselves. And when they're regulated, they know if it's an actual problem. When you are regulated, you see and perceive the world differently. You view other humans differently. You don't see your husband as a threat. You don't see your clients as, oh my God, this is like so much. You don't see your business as a burden. You don't see your kids as like needed. Your perception of time, people, the world changes because you're dysregulated. When you're regulated, you are connected to the infinite field of solutions and potential. In a scientific, my nerdy girls out there, you're tapped into your right brain where solutions are available. Einstein time is available. There's flow, there's information access to the field. You're in the God zone. You're not making up nonsense problems and trying to solve them. You're like, okay, I'll figure it out when I get there. Like, I'm going to do the things that I know to do and I'll figure it out. And then I'll figure it out some more. You're in the full field of potentiality. You're not collapsing all the other options by focusing on this one thing that isn't working. It's not helpful or useful to be walking around thinking your husband doesn't love you. It's not helpful or useful walking around thinking you have to figure out your entire life blueprint before you can do the next thing in your business. I was telling the clients in Money Foreplay today that there were quite a few that are trying to figure something out. And I said, I'm 14 and a half years in on YouTube. I have a collective, I think now at this point, 16-year business experience. I'm still figuring it out. So what am I supposed to wait until I'm 99 or dead to launch my business? Or do I just launch it and then I do the thing? I figure it out as I go. I know that I have a pure heart. My intention is to be of service, and I will be of service to the person in front of me to the best of my ability, figuring it out together. That's all I need. But when we're in that state, oh my goodness, the world just seems impossible. Everything seems difficult. We are not on easy mode, right? So regulate first. Notice if it's a state-related problem. If you can't tell when you regulate, it'll be very clear. Most of the time, you'll outgrow the nonsense in your head. And then life gets to be easy. This is weird, but I feel like when I'm regulated, I'm actually more masculine. This is not weird. It seems like that is because social media has given us a distorted perception of what femininity is. And right now, what's happening is a lot of people that are either below emotion or basic babes, we seem to think that they're the most feminine. We think that it's like being a certain way, looking a certain way. But actually, masculine and feminine energy in one person is actually quite braided. Their internal experience of life is what determines it. There's an outside structure of holding, and then an internal experience of ease and flow. These people are not going to be overly masculine presenting or overly feminine presenting. They're going to be pretty harmonious. So don't judge that in yourself. We're being given very distorted messages of what it's supposed to look like. Here's how it feels like. It feels like solutions are always available to you. It feels like I may not know, but I'll figure it out. It feels like this looks fun. Let me try it and see what happens. It feels like I always have time for everything I desire to do. Time bends and expands for me. It feels like solutions, ease, and flow is always available for me. It doesn't matter how you look on the outside. On the inside, that's what it feels like. That's how relationships get to feel. That's how parenting gets to feel. That's how business gets to feel. That's how money gets to feel. That's how your health gets to feel. Oh my God, speaking of health, I have a lot of other things to tell you guys about, but let me mention this really quickly. I have a free gift that is going to rock your world. So I just did this bomb fire activation inside Money Foreplay. The girls that were there, you guys know it was good. And there's a warning. It comes with a warning. So the activation is designed to help you release pockets of stored fat, stagnation, stuck energy, trauma in your body, and allow you to use it, like liquefy it and use it as courage. So if you were like, oh, I didn't know I had liquid courage in me, I'm here to tell you, you do. You've stored it for emergencies and you've forgotten how to use it, release it. So my warning is this is only for people that have at least 3 pounds to lose or more. I'm not sure that I would, I haven't tested this activation on anyone that was like what would be considered underweight. So please take my warning and do not do this. If you have at least 3 pounds to spare or more, have yourself at it. So all you have to do to get this freebie free activation is I'm going to drop in the link for you. If you go and sign up for my free container workbook, I have put it in the same container, the same portal for you. So I dropped a link. It's in the description box. All you're going to do is go click on it, and then a page is going to come up for you to enter your name and your email address. When you enter your name and email address, there's going to be a thank you page and an email that's immediately sent out to you. The email that goes out, it might end up in your spam, so check there. It goes out immediately. On there, you're going to click on Claim Your Container Workbook Now, which is going to take you on my website, in my school site. You're going to create an account. If you don't already have one, you can log in the same account that you used to purchase your courses, or you log in to view your previous courses. And then you're going to have access to the free container workbook portal. In this portal, there's free activation. There's this activation also. Let me give you the name of this activation before we continue so you know what to look for. So when you go into the container workbook, there's the container workbook, allowing and receiving activation, which is a different activation, wealth clearing activation, that's a different activation, 21-day money cord cutting invocation, that's a different one. Then there is this one, activation, the transmutation of stored energy. This is the one where it's going to use pockets of fat and trauma and stored like energy in your body that may have gotten stuck in a freeze response, and it will transmute it, liquefy it, and let you use it now so that you have more energy to create and do the things you want to do. And then there's a whole bunch of other things. There's a Money Mojo challenge that helps you change your relationship with spending money. There's 4 videos on one on Basic Babe, Self-Aware Barbie, Million Dollar Babe, High in Divinity. And then there's 2 masterclasses, Resourceful and Unleash Your Dark Feminine Energy. And then there's a play date, a shop with me. So all of that is there. And I just wanted to let you know that I just gifted you guys for free this activation that we just did in Money Foreplay. It's really, really powerful. And so you guys can access it there if you feel like you want to use up stored energy that you have saved for a later time while also shedding a couple of pounds. So that is available. Let's see. Yes, release all this liquid courage. Yes. And let's see, that exercise makes so much sense to me. I've said before that fat saved my life. It's from the courage it took to get through trauma, and your activation helps release it. Exactly, because you saved it for time you needed it, right? That's what we do. That's what the human body does. Well, what if you need it now? What if you send a very clear signal to your body that you need it now? Thank you so much, Arena. I appreciate that. I appreciate that I received that. So you can go ahead and access it. Okay, what was the next thing? Let's take a sip. I have to make sure I remember my magnesium because I had forgotten it a couple times last week. So I'm going to make sure I'm sipping on that. Okay, so we talked about state-related problems. We talked about below emotion, above emotion. I feel like there was other things I wanted to say today. Let's go deeper with this and see if something else comes up. So one thing that I want to invite you, I remembered. Do I want to go there? This may trigger people. I'm going to go there. Okay. So recently, I have been getting some DMs and some emails sent to our support team. And by the way, my team is not qualified and do not have permission to coach you guys via email. So just know that you're just sharing your very, very personal situations with my team, but they can just recommend courses or send you links to my coaching programs. They are not qualified to coach you. So I don't know why people expect that, but they can't do that. However, I've seen some of these, and because they don't know, they're like, what should we do with this? So I'm gonna put a couple of these, one I got in DM, couple of these, I'm gonna put them in one category. So I'm gonna give you a couple examples, and then let me help you guys work through this. One of the questions was that I live with a man, I had his children, and he is refusing to marry me. What should I do? And so the first thing I want to say is, if you look at this from an evolutionary perspective, you basically offered your most potent cards up front. So what if I asked you, let's just change, because sometimes it can be triggering when you're looking at your own situation. So let me change that. What if I said to you, babe, I gave them my course, I gave them full access to it, I gave them all the activations, I gave them all the coaching, I gave them all the homework, but they're not buying it. What would you say to me? What if I was really confused why they're not buying my course now? What would you say? I want you to actually answer this for those of you guys watching live. What if I said to you, I wrote this book, published it, signed it, hand delivered it to all my clients, and now they're not buying it. What should I do? I don't get it. What's happening? And so when you really think about it, we have really twisted and reversed this. We think that as women, we have to give all the things up front, and then we have to show them, we have to prove them. But evolutionarily, there's two branches of men. And this is really important because most people will not tell you this because this is very politically incorrect, especially in the Western world. No one wants to touch this with a 10-foot pole, what I'm about to tell you. These are the kind of things that get people canceled, even researchers. Okay? I've had my own professors say they can't publish things the way they used to back in the day because they'll get canceled. Actual science. But let me just tell you, okay? So the way that humans evolved, there's two types of genome that was highly successful in reproduction. What does evolution look at? Reproduction, right? Chances of survival. The one type that was really, really successful was where the man and the woman stayed together. They were, what's the word? Monogamous. And they both invested resources in rearing their child, right? Like raising their children. In fact, not only did their grandparents, both sides of the grandparents were available, aunts and uncles were available, cousins were available. That was really successful in evolutionary history. That was one branch. The second branch that was really successful is men that went and had as many children with as many women and ran away. Because even if not all of them survived, enough of them survived that their genes still went forward. Danya said, it sounds like performing for love and validation. If I do all these things, then they will love me, marry me, buy my products. Yes. Yes, Danya. Nailed it. Nailed it. So right now in Homo sapiens, we have both types of genes. Now, my husband, some researchers try to play balance and say, let's assume that it's 50-50, the genome. I'm not sure I agree that it's 50-50 anymore. It might be 60-40, but just for the sake of argument, let's just say it's 50-50. That 50% of the genome We all hold, like 50% of the humans value monogamy and staying and raising their children. Like till they are pair bonded and they want to do all the things. And then there's other 50% that are like, just have as many babies as you can. And the thing is that now in Western society, because we've made it okay to have children out of wedlock, I know this is the stuff that will get you canceled if you talk about this. How dare you shame women? They're coming to me asking me for an out now. They've already had the baby. So I guess I get to comment on this. I guess I get to comment. We've made it okay. The men that are like, just have as many babies as you can with as many women, they're having a field day. They are living large. They are like, yes, thank you, God, for making me incarnated in this time where I do not have to trick women. They're coming to me. They want to prove themselves by allowing this. And so now when I talk about this, sometimes people will bring up, well, what about the times when you marry them and they still leave? So here's how I'm going to answer this. Some men, there's many reasons that have this. Some men don't know they're that type. Some men don't realize that they're the types that can't settle, that want to sleep with as many women as they can until they've actually gotten married. That's one reason. Secondly, sometimes they have other benefits that they're getting from you. So for example, if they were going to get a green card from you and a child and they were going to run away, or money from you and a child, then they'll get married. But they're going to run away. So this is not about completely eliminating risk. It's about lowering your chances. So when you're a woman where the stakes are high for what you will allow in your womb, what you will allow access to you, you're less likely to be in those situations. And here's the thing, I'm going to say it. I'm so sorry if this is going to sting, but we need to be able to say this, especially for the younger women that haven't made these mistakes yet. The thing is that when you have children with multiple men or a man without marriage, it lowers your mate value for the next guy. Even though in society we're not allowed to say this, men won't tell you to your face. They might not even consciously know this. We know that 95 to 99% of what we're thinking is subconscious. It's subconscious. It's under the radar of our conscious mind. So when you are divorced and you have a child and you're a single mom, it registers differently in other people's subconscious than when you have a child and you were never married and now you're showing up saying, I have these, and these, you know, standards. It's like, okay, well, what happened to the standards with that situation, right? So we need to be able to say these things and have these conversations. So now going back to the women that have already done this, what happens in this situation is you find my work and then you're like, oh my God, like I thought he was going to marry me. So I moved in with him and then he didn't. Then I said, okay, let me have a kid and then he'll marry me. And he didn't. The first thing you're going to have to do is you're going to have to share the responsibility. I know this is so hard. I hear you, babe. I hear you. However, when we are blaming him, if he is one of the good ones and he was going to marry you, now he's like receiving really weird energy from you. So what I recommend in that situation is share the blame. And how you're going to do this is I want you to sit with yourself and say, wow, something in me made me bend over backwards. Something in me made me disown my truth, disown my voice, not speak up for what I actually wanted. Something in me didn't allow me to have standards that women have had for millions of years. And process that first. When you have processed that, then when you come and communicate with him, it's going to be different. How I've helped my clients work through this is when before they found me, they're coming at him attacking. I live with you. I had your kids. You're not marrying me. And now he's like, well, you agreed to this, right? Like all of a sudden, what's happening? And like he's going further away. And so what I help my clients, I'm going to give you the actual process, is help them process that first, where they can come with shared responsibility. And then the communication shifts from I'm blaming you to I take responsibility for not speaking my truth before, but this is what I actually desire. I desire marriage. This is what I get to have. This is where our kids get to have. It's a completely different frequency. It's a completely different conversation. It's not triggering his nervous system to now be in self-protection mode. It's going to be a completely different dynamic. So if you want to actually increase your chances of getting results with, because I get it, sometimes you have small kids, people will tell you, oh, just walk away. It's not always easy when you have young kids with someone, you're living with them, your kids are on their insurance, right? Like there's a million and one things that go into that. Telling everyone to leave is not always the appropriate situation for them. Arena said, even just today, a man came up to me on a dating app saying, underlined, that he is, I don't know what that means, and I need to change the way I present myself on the app. He chose the wrong women, not today. Yes, the truth is medicine for everyone. We need to be able to say this. The reason people are afraid to say this is we think people that have already done it will feel shamed, and we don't want to make anyone feel shame, so we don't say it, so then more people are doing it. It's like if you feel shame, that shame was already inside of you. Shame is not something someone else gives. You either have it or you don't. You can't shame me for the life decisions I made because I own the life decisions I make, right? Like I already know that, yep, I did that. So we're so afraid of speaking the truth that we just keep sugarcoating it. But it's like people keep walking off the cliff. And instead of saying, hey, don't walk off the cliff, we're like, well, some people died and some people got hurt and they'll feel bad. So let's not tell anyone else. No, we have to tell everyone else. We do have to. Have higher standards for yourself. Refuse to have babies for men that haven't married you and committed to you. What are they offering you for your womb? Like the entire, like the animal part of us, the entire species, the animal species, not just us, all of them, their only one job is to reproduce. It's the most important thing the animal part of us does. You're giving that just to anyone. So that standard has to change. It absolutely has to change. And then I want to address a second question I've been getting a lot. I've been getting messages, and this has been happening because on my Instagram, I often post my date nights with my husband and how he like plans the date nights and the flowers he brings and my bath rituals that I do to get myself into the goddess vibe before our dates. And I've been getting, some people love it. And then some people respond saying like, should I leave my man? I have a baby. I'm married to him. He pays all my bills, but he doesn't take me out. Girl, no. No, okay? You're not gonna leave someone just because in this season of life, you have a little baby. He's done all the things right. He's claimed you, committed to you, is paying all the bills, but he's not taking you out or he's not buying you an expensive bag. Like, let's approach marriage and life and parenting with a little bit more maturity. There are seasons of life. My husband and I were not going on so many date nights when my kids were little. We had date nights at home, and that was okay for that season. It was perfectly okay. You have to know that you're going to be married for 50, 60, 70 years, God willing. And you cannot be making your decisions so haphazardly, especially when you have children with a man. You are now sealing the fate of your child. And so this is the wounded feminine, where our desires for ourself are overriding the well-being of our family and our children. As women, we are the emotional like epicenters, the energetic and emotional epicenters of the family. So don't let your desires become problems and you're willing to get divorced over a man not taking you out. No, that's something that comes later. That's something that's a desire. Those are things that we evolve. I have openly shared this. Some people get really triggered and say, oh my God, I knew it. Mina and Irfan do not have the perfect marriage. First of all, I'm never claiming, right? But I'll share it with you guys. So when Irfan and I got married, my husband when we were dating, he was doing this, but when we were married, he wasn't opening the doors for me, the car doors and the other doors. Yeah, but here's why. A lot of my clients were like, why doesn't he open the door for you? I got married, I had my son from my previous marriage, right? So when we would get to the car, my husband would open the door for Armand, get Armand in the car, get him all buckled in, and meanwhile, I'd open the door and just sit. So we got into that pattern. And then there was Ayan. And then there was Alina. And then we were at a point where we'd be getting in the car and we would like, he'd be strapping one kid and I'm strapping in the other kid. We're parents. And then one day I thought about it. I'm like, it would be nice to have my husband open doors for me. And instead of turning it in a problem and saying, that's it, I'm going to leave him because he doesn't open doors for me. He's not giving me the princess treatment. First of all, princess is the energy of the wounded feminine. So grown ass women shouldn't even be using that. Princess treatment, what princess is the wounded feminine. Okay? We're not doing that. We want queen, we want goddess. So one day I just said to him, I said, wouldn't it be nice if we went back to how we were before we were married? And he's like, what do you mean? I said, remember when you used to open the car door for me? And he thought about it. He was like, yeah. He's like, would you like that? I said, I would love that. Since that day, he's been opening the door. Like, can we just approach it like a grown up? In fact, the other day, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed to even share this with you because we got into that pattern and was loving it. And this one time we were coming back from a date. I don't know what happened because I'm like trying to be very present, but I like zoned out on the way back. And then when we got home, we got in the garage, I just opened the door and he was so confused. He's like, and I was like, I'm sorry, I closed it. So like, let there be humor in your union. Everything doesn't have to be so serious. Let there be mistakes. Let it be messy. Let it actually be a desire. Just because your desires have changed doesn't mean they're now problems. In fact, I remember, was that in the original? Did it make the book? I remember in the original draft, I had talked about this. Let me know if you guys remember if it's in this book. But I had talked about that as we grow, as we evolve, as we do inner work, our standards change, our desires change. This doesn't mean I'm going to go to Irfan and say, oh my God, you're so wrong, you're so bad, you're so broken because you're not doing this. I just go and tell him my new desire. I just tell him and voice him my new thing. And then sometimes it's a little messy, and then we figure it out and then we do it and then it's fun. I quite like that we've had all of these different seasons of our marriage. We get to experience different things. It says 11:11 on my end over here, not on the time, but in the view duration. I love it. Thank you for that sign. We have things to look forward to. Now we're back into that giddy, like, early dating stage, and we get to experience that. And then who knows, in a different season of life, we might try something else. And all of that is okay. If a woman doesn't choose to receive, everyone suffers. Yes. Love your date night post. Your energy with your husband family is a goal for us to inspire to. Thank you, Donnie. I appreciate that. Arena said, thank you, Mina, for your honesty. Is it you who changed? It is you who changed my mind on sex before marriage. I remember how much hurt and resistance I had when I first heard this idea, but it's worth every breath. Thank you, Arena. God channeled you to say that because my husband kept forgetting the door. It only turned him off and made me getting mad that yes. So it was funny. Like even you should have seen Irfan's face that time that I opened it. We were in our garage already, and I opened the door because I had zoned out for a second, and he was like, "This was literally his face." He's like, and I'm like, "I'm sorry, I closed it back," and then he like ran around to get it. But let it be playful. What if you just stood there? Like sometimes when he opens the door and like he takes my hand because I usually have like heels on. Hello, I'm 5'3", he's 6'2". And like he finds the whole thing cute, right? And then like the other day, the valet guy opened the car for me before Irfan, the door for me before he could do it. And when I looked at Irfan, he just winked at me. So like letting it be fun. Date nights are supposed to be fun. Children are supposed to be fun. Sex is supposed to be fun. Vacations are supposed to be fun. Inner work is supposed to be fun. We have to get out of this habit of turning things into problems. These are all desires. When we let it mean something, when we let it mean he's not opening the door for me, so he doesn't love me. So, for example, this conversation happened with my student years ago, a whole bunch of my students, because they were saying that their number one sign, red flag that a man was wrong for them is if the man didn't open the door for them. And I was like, huh? How is that a red flag? And they were like, that's the biggest red flag, Mina. I heard someone saying it on you. I said, babe, my husband doesn't open the door for me. He gets the kids in the car and snaps them in first. Is that a red flag? And they're like, oh, he doesn't? How come he doesn't? Because he gets the kids in. Like, it, it's just life. I had another couple I was working with, Pakistani couple. Her husband wouldn't get the door. And when we investigated a little bit, yeah, he grew up with like chauffeurs that got the door. And so it didn't occur to him that he should be opening. Sometimes it's not what you think. It doesn't have to turn into a thing. It doesn't have to turn into I'm not worthy. The things that people are making red flags now, I'm like, good luck anyone getting married on this planet. I have this huge vortex in my little corner of the universe where my clients get engaged and married because I'm like, dude, that's not a red flag. Oh, that's not. Well, like I saw it on like 3 YouTube channels. I said, are they married? Well, no, they're not married, but they're relationship coaches. Yeah. Uh, mm. What are they basing this on? Evolution? Psychology? Like what, where is this coming from? They all just heard each other talking about it. When people don't actually have relationship skills, they make up stupid shit as red flags. Your desires just get to evolve. Tomorrow, if you realize something else, let me give you another big thing, okay? Oh my God, this happened probably in like a second year of marriage where we were going to a wedding and I put on a dress and I wasn't sure, I didn't know what my husband was going to wear. We were like very newly married, maybe within the first year. And it just so happened that we ended up wearing the same color. And I made a comment about it. I was like, oh my God, twinsies, like something, I don't know. I just said like we're soulmates or something, right? Something cute. He noticed that. Men notice those kind of things. Like they play for points. And now it's almost 17 years. And when we're getting ready, like for date nights, wherever, he's like, what are you wearing? And I'm like, I'm wearing this dress, or I got this new dress. And he's like, well, let me see if I have that color. Because it got programmed in him from that one time I made that one comment. Now, what if you come and you're like, well, Mina and her husband always seem to match. So it's a red flag if my guy is not matching. So I'm going to base all my most important decisions on my marriage based on this one thing that this couple is doing. What? Of course not. If that's your desire, you can say, wouldn't it be nice if we did this? Let your desires be fun. Let them serve your union. Let's not create unnecessary hurdles when life is already lifing. There's duality all around us. People are struggling. People are lonely. People are hearing all this conflicting advice. Let us, those of us on the internet that are actually doing our inner work, we're committed to growth. We're heart-centered. We're love-based. We believe in God. We want to have divine union forever and ever and ever. Amen. Let's not make shit up and overcomplicate life. You get to have desires, you absolutely do. But that doesn't mean that he's going to stuff everything down your throat in this one moment, especially when we can already see that you don't have the container for it. I didn't always get Chanel bags from my husband. No, I didn't. We had goals in the beginning of paying off our house. I had a budget. I was getting a monthly like little pay. We both had certain amount of money we were both getting. He would spend it on dinners out and family things, and I would spend it on handbags and fun things I wanted to buy. That's real life. It's real life. We planned smartly in the beginning. We created our foundation that was rock solid, and now we get to enjoy and we get to keep enjoying. And so remember that the wounded feminine it's very me energy. It's all about me and my desires, but that's not healthy, holistic viewpoint of the divine feminine. We are also wives, we're also mothers, we're also sisters and community members. Our men and our children and our women are hurting right now. We have to offer a little bit of grace. Yeah. So that's my message for today. Hi, Kristen. So nice to have you back. I have a date with Alina in a few minutes. So I'm gonna wrap this up. Thank you so much for hanging out. Make sure you go and grab my free activation. Only do it if you have at least 3 pounds or more to lose. I don't want to risk it. I haven't tested it out on people that didn't have at least 3 pounds to lose. Yeah, it's in the description box. It's the same portal as the container workbook. It's absolutely free. You can go and access that. I love you guys so much. I'll see you guys in my in-person event as well in Houston. The Addicted to Abundance. All right, babes.